Hola mi gente, ¿cómo están? Mi nombre es Alba Mar, me pueden decir Alba, el canal se llama Seriela, estamos aquí para hablar de libros, algunos de ellos en español desde Puerto Rico. Hello, my name is Alba Mar, you may call me Alba, channel name is Seriela, we're here to talk about books and some of them in Spanish from Puerto Rico. I'm going to try to make this as fast as possible because I have a teen sequence of charge left on my phone and I have a lot of reading to do for today. And I want to get back to it, even though I've been reading a whole bunch this past week. So let's get to it. But before, I want to bring to your attention two of the videos that have most taught me and helped me in this decolonizing the mind process this past week. And one of them is, I will link them both down below, a conversation between teachers and their experience with race in the classroom and with administration. Link that down below. Plus an article that I read about big snafu in the book critics circles, calling to mind again what I talked about previously about publishing industry. Yeah, it's systemic, people. So what have I been doing this past week? As far as Caribathon goes, I am reading Cuentos Dominicanos, which I left on my table because I was reading it. And as soon as I finish Cuentos Dominicanos, I want to talk about that book. Because, first of all, I forgot to mention the title of the story. The first story that I read last week by Juan Bosch, ex-president of the Dominican Republic. The title of that story was Mujer, Woman. And it was, first of all, a very realistic description of the countryside, poverty in that area, and violence. Domestic violence was the topic. And why do I want to talk about that? Because it reminded me of Juan Bosch's interest in a literacy campaign for the people of the Dominican Republic. And he started that literacy campaign with stories. And I can clearly see that this story, this first story, Mujer, would have been priceless in that literacy campaign. Not only to teach literacy, but also to create awareness about women in the Dominican Republic and what they have to go through. Fascinating story. We'll talk about that later. I'm halfway through the book. It's a panoramic view. Cuentos Dominicanos is a panoramic view of the development of the short story in the Dominican Republic. And I think this book is going to change my opinion about short stories. I will definitely seek out more Dominican short stories after this book. So that's what I was reading. And pending will be Wide Sargasso Sea, because even though Caribathon is supposed to end today, I'm going to continue until the rest of the month, the end of the month. And I will also continue with Annie John by Jamaica Kincaid, and Wide Sargasso Sea is by Rhys. Okay, I continued also with, from Puerto Rico, because of the Decolonizing My Mind project, Cómo piensa, colonizado. I'm more than halfway through. More controversial, racy, yeah, caricatures there. I want to announce that there are 2 reading activities on BookTube. Yeah. The first one is the Blackout Buddy Read, and I will link the channel down below. And they are reading for tonight a live discussion about White Fragility, the book White Fragility, and White Rage, which I only received yesterday. So that's why I have to keep this short so I can get to reading at least half of this book. I've continued with Don Quixote, and Sancho has already abdicated the throne of his island and is back to serving Don Quixote. The themes of class, among other themes, but class distinctions here are just mind-boggling to me. They really are. The impunity with which the Duke and the Duchess treated Don Quixote and Sancho Panza is, no. Stamped from the beginning, I have reached this almost halfway mark in Stamped from the Beginning, and I will start now with, I'll let you know, with W.E. Du Bois. W.E. Du Bois, yeah. You know what? This book is teaching me a lot, but it's also opening another rabbit hole, because now I want to read about President Grant, Ulysses S. Grant. Yeah, those are the kind of connections that go off in my brain. Continuing with The Bully Pulpit, have finished chapter 8 in The Bully Pulpit by Doris Kearns Goodwin, and have already seen how the Pullman strike was dealt with. Very similar to today. Federal troops were called out against the Pullman strikers, as a matter of fact. And some of Taft's court decisions. Very interesting. Very interesting. I forgot to tell you that this is the only book that I finished in June, Tar Baby, which was for last month. Yeah. But I finished Tar Baby, and Tar Baby merits its own video. Tar Baby, given what's happening right now in terms of raising consciousness about race, this was an eye-opener. An eye-opener. It takes place in a small island in the Caribbean, in which a white retired businessman lives with his black help, butler and cook, and the distinctions between that household and the surrounding Caribbean population, which remain nameless for the people in the household. The people in the islands remain nameless to them, even to the American black servants. That's just one of the themes and one of the topics in this book. It's fantastic. Talk about that some other time. I discovered that I had another book of Dominican stories right here, Sin Pasar por Go, Narrativa Dominicana Contemporánea, edited by Rita Indiana. Yeah. So if I can, I will get to this one too, now that I love Dominican stories. Yeah, it's very, very familiar to me. Oh, okay. Continuing with my buddy read of John Adams. They have returned to the United States, John Adams and Abigail, after their sojourn in Europe, where Adams was the one who could get loans from the Netherlands. Nobody else could do that but John Adams. I had started Team of Rivals, but had to suspend it because I was reading so many other things. So I think that is what, oh, there is another activity. There was the Blackout buddy read. There's also Queer Blackathon, which is going to be a 48-hour activity event that's going to take place starting today. And for that, I have to thank Kay from Kay the Reader, because I found E. Lynn Harris's memoirs through her, thanks to her. And I will be reading that in the next 48 hours. So that's it, people. Keep on reading. Take good care of yourselves, whatever you do, wherever you go. And cuídense mucho, mi gente. Sigan leyendo. Los quiero mucho. Adiós.